Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2. Last episode, we made our way towards Hellions Gate to try and find information on where we could find a Shipmind. And good news, we did find information on where we could find a Shipmind. And Junie showed up to help us out with that. Now we just need to go to this Shipmind wreck in order to salvage it. So let's go do just that. We're going to be taking her. We'll take Eugen. Oh, it's gonna be a crew fuel thing. So we're taking Junie, and I'm also going to take Eugen, because he's the only one who has Endure. And if we have to do anything with Endure, he's the one who's gonna be doing it. Bliss, you're great, but you're gonna have to stay back this time. Let's go. We're too far sunward, Sleeper. Seraphin turns back in his chair to look at you. I don't like it. It's hard not to agree. The coordinates Junie found have drawn you out of the Hellion Gate and almost out of the belt completely, into the soft, rubble-strewn transition with the Hellion system, to the edge of Conway-controlled space. That's why this ship is likely to be untouched. Junie surveys the wreck coldly. It's too far sunward for belt traffic to run into. And now, with Conway drones patrolling the edge of the belt, it's even less attractive as a salvage site. Lucky us. Junie eyes you, trying to detect if you're being sarcastic or not. I doubt anyone has been here in decades, so actually I would say we are lucky. Any drone signals? Nothing I can see, but I don't dare reach out too far. Seraphin flicks a few switches. We should assume they're out there. As you look out at the twisted wreck, you swear you see a red light blinking between the stars. You exchange a look with Seraphin. He's seen it too. We'd better get to it, Sleeper. Seraphin begins unclipping from his seat. Quickly and quietly. From what I understand, Conway drones run on automatic until they detect something of interest. Junie unclips too. So as long as we are quiet, we don't have to contend with an operator, just automated search sweeps. With no weapons, I'd say we are screwed either way. Eugen shoots you a wink. I'd say better not to be seen, right, Sleeper? He gets up out of the corner seat and glides toward the back of the ship to get suited up. You drift out of your chair and head towards the airlock, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Being here is a risk, you know that, but you need this Shipmind, so no matter what happens, you won't be leaving here empty-handed. Well, he got 4s. Junie has a 3 and a 1. Isolated wreck. The records showed that this ship had a Shipmind installed, but you'll need to find where. Starting up network architecture might bring unwanted attention, while exploring in person is likely to keep your crew undetected. Or, some of the ship's network architecture still functions. Accessing map data will help you explore the wreck. Well, I have some 6s that'll help with exploring the ship. Slowly but surely, routes are tracked through the ship. It won't be too much longer until the Shipmind is located. And if we extract the map data... that's basically the same. An entire section of the ship, fully mapped, is found among the corrupted data. This will help. Unfortunately, it seems Eugen is not going to be able to help much. Junie can help with this. A big ship. Okay, that's only stress. But if we use this, that means stress is something they can deal with. Okay, not as much if it's a negative. Okay, push that. That's a 4. I can deal with a 4. There we go. You've located the Shipmind cradle. Time to extract it. Junie leads you deep into the wreck, through crushed and twisted corridors, floating panels and wires appearing suddenly in your headlamps like strange sculptures. Just as you begin to tire of the endless dark and the haze of particles washing over your suit, Junie leads you into a chamber where the ceiling is torn open to reveal the stars. At its center lies a cylindrical object, half your height but raised on a complex pedestal, from which countless thick cables snake off into the dark like braided hair. One or two of them float freely, waving back and forth with glinting severed ends, but most of them disappear into the floor and walls, or twist and curve out of sight. Beautiful, isn't it? Junie stares at the prime Shipmind, the stars reflected in her faceplate. Not bad. Junie glides over to the pedestal, pushing her way delicately through the wires. As she takes out her terminal and looks for an access port, she talks, softly, her voice carried through the suit comms. These cables lead off to every one of the ship's systems. Engines, life support, navigation, lighting, networking, you name it. Shipmind has hardwired access to them all. When an old ship like this was running well, the Shipmind would distribute itself, some of its protocols running freely in different sections. It would be less like a single governing mind and more like a load of systems clumped together to form a complex living machine. Think of a plant rather than a being. A plant with incredibly rapid processing power and a much more accelerated response time than your average tree. You watch as she finds an access port and slips a cable inside, slotting a translucent screen onto the top edge of her deck. Let's see here. Junie's screen fills with bright scrolling data. Incredible. There's so much here. I'll start copying this over. It's everything I need. You watch as Junie starts rapidly tapping at her keyboard, her attention sucked into the data she's extracting. Junie, the Shipmind? She snaps out of her trance. Sorry, yes. Let me check. As I thought. So, like I was saying, the protocols inside the Shipmind are distributed, so when the Shipmind is shut down unexpectedly, the protocols are rarely all contained in this unit. She places a hand gently on the cylinder. As is the case here, parts of it are trapped elsewhere in the ship system's nodes. Which is a problem. There's always a problem. Luckily, you have me. If we rip this thing out now with parts of its protocols elsewhere, it's probably going to destroy itself the moment we turn it on. It doesn't matter that we are going to wipe the whole thing anyway. It'll be too late. The mind inside the Shipmind will be broken. But if we find the nodes housing the distributed parts, power them up, and then disconnect them, the protocols will be sent right back into the Shipmind here and we can take it out clean. How do we find the nodes? We either ask the Cradle very nicely, or we spend the next cycles following these cables to see where they lead. I've got an incoming signal. Seraphine's voice suddenly cuts through on comms, urgent and nervous. If you're lighting up the systems and networks down there, time to stop. You hear a click as Junie disconnects from the Cradle, and the two of you exchange nervous looks, instinctively backing off from the Shipmind. Suddenly a faint red light glitters in the dark beyond the broken ceiling. You hold still. The moment stretches out and you hear Junie's breathing through the comms. The light flashes, pauses, and then fades. You take a breath. Too close. Conway drone, sniffing the network. Conway drone, sniffing the network. We're clear. I've turned off almost all of the rig's systems, but we need to be careful. Keep network activity to a minimum. Understood, but we will need to access the networks to get this Shipmind out quickly. Then I hope you're feeling lucky. There's a click as Seraphine closes the line. You and Junie look at each other again, and then at the Shipmind encased in its cradle, wrapped in cables. This isn't going to be easy. So what do we got here? The Shipmind is still sealed in its cradle. It'll take some thought and experimentation to figure out how to extract it. If you want to keep the network quiet, your only option is to track the physical connections the cradle has with the rest of the ship. Or, hacking the cradle will reveal data on the Shipmind systems, but any network activity is likely to draw attention to the wreck. Okay, well, this is why we brought you, Eugen. You are going to help out a lot here. Oh, crap, 2 of my dice broke. Great. Okay, Eugen, throw your 6 in here. That's a little bit. We can take care of some of these with positives. We shouldn't be noticed. That's 3. That's another 3. That'll be another 3. And this'll make it so there's no negative, and we will... You know what? Eugen, track the cables. You've located the key nodes that need to be disconnected to free the Shipmind. Excellent. Oh. Port node. Disconnecting its nodes by any means will allow the Shipmind to be extracted safely. One clean cut through the connecting cable and the node will be disconnected, but mess it up and there could be trouble. This node needs to be disabled precisely and quickly to keep your intrusion under wraps. And on this side... One clean cut, disable the node. Okay. Let's go ahead and try this. That was nice. Do it again. Good. Conway did get an alert. But we still have a chance. Let's end the cycle. We've got some good rolls. You can do a cut node here. Oh no, wait, that's engineer. Never mind. You are actually not going to be much help here. We can disable the node. That's not good. Fine. You give it a try. There we go. This node has been disconnected from the Shipmind's cradle. Let's see if I can do a quick cut node. Okay. Cutting the connection is slow, halfway through, and the node is already sending out a warning signal. Okay. And now we just have one more. This is a risk. Junie, give it a try. And Junie is out. Okay. This is, again, a risky move. Try it. We got it. It's ready, Sleeper. Junie's voice comes quietly through your comms. You look over to her, floating beside the cradle, uplit by the pale screen of her deck. She gives you a reassuring nod. You turn to the prime Shipmind, now floating above its cradle, the final nodes disconnected and the locks released. You glide over and gently grab it, the worn metal casing gleaming in the dim light. As you do, you feel a strange sensation of something moving around inside, like a creature in a box, the weight shifting this way and that under the pressure of your grip. It suddenly dawns on you that Jean-Mi plans to put you inside this strange device, to hold your mind there while he investigates your body. The thought prompts a shiver. That drone's still sniffing around, Sleeper, so if you have what you need, let's go. You feel Junie's hand fall on your shoulder. Come on, Sleeper, don't overthink it. She pats you gently. There will be plenty of time for that later. You look up and see a faint red light glittering in the dark beyond the broken ceiling. Time to leave. Time to leave indeed. Let's get out of here while we can. Arriving back at the Hellion Gate, as lonely and cold as it is, feels like a relief. There was a tension in the rig as you came back out of the inner system, a watchfulness for errant signals and glinting red beacons that choked the conversation. But now, floating in the comforting shadow of this vast ruin, the sense of relief is palpable. That's one prime Shipmind condition unknown retrieved. Seraphin runs the engine shutdown protocols as he speaks. I'd mark that as a success. Agreed, thank you. Seraphin waves away your thanks. We're a crew, we work together. Sleeper, can I speak with you? Junie asks from the back of the cockpit. Well, of course. She leads you out into the passage, tucking yourself against the wall. She looks small, even in this compact space. Thank you for taking me with you. I hope I proved I am trustworthy. Thank you for helping. That's what I promised. She looks down at the floor. In my time here in the Belt, I haven't found it easy to make friends. She falters, tripping over her words slightly. But you, Sleeper... Well, I hope you'd consider me a friend at least. I would. She can't help but smile. I'm glad. And I would like to ask you something. Would you consider taking me with you on the rig? She blurts out, and then, before you can answer, I think I would be of help for your diagnostic, and in the meantime, I can take a look at the Shipmind, make sure it is ready, and... Yes, Junie, you can. She stops, speechless. She looks down at her hands and then back up at you. Okay. Thank you. I will find a bunk. And she quickly glides off down the corridor before you can say anything further. Another stray collected. Seraphin puts a hand on your shoulder. Quite the refuge we're building here. He gives you a sly smile. You don't approve? You know, I've actually started to warm to this one. She's alright by me. He smiles and pushes off from your shoulder, gliding towards the engine room. You look towards the bunks, but Junie is already out of sight, likely unpacking already. The ship is getting a little crowded, but you are starting to realize you like it like that. At the very least, she'll prove invaluable when you get to Flotsam and have to deal with Jean-Mi. Perhaps she'll even have a read on the old man. You pause for a second, appreciating the warmth, the hum of the rig and its inhabitants. This ship, you think, is starting to feel like home. Alright. Unfortunately, I don't think we can go back yet. We need a bit more fuel. And for that, we gotta salvage the fuel barge, which is going to be very, very tricky. Especially since our endure skill is missing. Oh! Oh wow, we actually salvaged a lot from a positive outcome. That lost some energy. There we go. Nearly full on fuel again. That's actually fantastic. Okay, I can repair these dice. They do need to be repaired. Which is going to cause some glitches. Unfortunately and annoyingly. But you know what I'll do? I'll do a rest here. See if you can source some supplies. Okay, we have the glitch. We got a bit of supplies. I can't remember if... Let me see something. Each time you roll it. Okay, so as long as I don't use it, I'm fine. This is gonna be tricky, but... Actually, you know what? I'm fine without getting the fuel now. Search for supplies. Okay, that didn't work. Try again. That just gave us stress. Okay, this is not gonna work out. We gotta get out of here. And we're starving, so... Travel back to here. The far spindle. Okay, we've made it. That's good. We need to refill on our things, which we can do very easily. We have the money. Fill up on fuel. Oh, also fill up on supplies, please. That's good. And I can buy something, not in Nimbus Kitchen, in here. There, that saves that. And I can try using one of these in order to remove the stress. That didn't work. I just noticed. This one actually shows damage from when it was broken. That's interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. Well, either way, that's that accomplished. And we have what we need. I can use the rest of these dice. Go ahead, do odd jobs, but I can use the rest of these dice to get some money. Which doesn't sound like a bad idea, in my opinion. Oh, the ship's repaired. Or it looks repaired. That's actually pretty good. Anyway, I can use these to get some to get some more money. May as well. And now, we travel over. Back to Flotsam. We'll get a fresh set of dice. We'll be fresh on energy. Ugh. Those are bad dice. But we have what we need to go speak to Jean-Mi. Let's see what he's got for us. Jean-Mi warmly smiles at the Shipmind as he places it on his counter. A beautiful find, Sleeper. Come, let's get you inside. Jean-Mi swings open the creaking, corroded door beside his booth. Such a prize must have levied a heavy cost. You glance beside you to Junie, who insisted she came along, and on not letting the prime Shipmind out of her sight. Your friend, too, yes, please, come in. Jean-Mi beckons and then turns back and disappears inside. Junie squints at you. Are you sure you trust this one? I don't have a choice. I suppose not. Lead on, then. You both squeeze through the door and drift down into the workshop. You're aware of Junie's eyes wandering across the piles and piles of tech on either side, and you wonder if she recognizes anything among the junk. Sit, Sleeper. Jean-Mi is already at the chair, arranging his array of articulated arms. And I'll take that Shipmind, if you please. Hand it over. You hold the Shipmind in front of you and give it a small push so it floats gently over to Jean-Mi. He grasps it with both hands and takes it to a neat little work table in the back you didn't see before, where thick cables float lazily, tethered to the wall. You slide into the chair, hooking your feet behind the bottom bar to hold yourself in place, and watch as Jean-Mi begins connecting up the prime Shipmind. A tremble of nervousness runs along your arms. Suddenly you feel Junie's hand clasped around your own. You look over into her face. Is this okay? I want you to know I'm here. Thanks. She nods silently. Jean-Mi? Junie calls across the room. You are going to need to talk us through what you are about to do. Of course. Jean-Mi is slotting an arm-thick cable into the Shipmind. A little patience, please. All of this is very technical. He turns to face you both. What is your friend's name, Sleeper? Junie. And I can tell you that you are using a Solheim-built data cradle modified to handle a prime Shipmind. She rattles off at speed. Which will work as long as you manage the data flow through a polymer-clad overflow cable looped into the asynchronous cortex cache. Yes. Jean-Mi eyes her, a small smile crossing his lips. As I said, technical. What will happen to me? Jean-Mi refocuses on you. It depends, he says while preparing the far end of that thick cable. What you are referring to as me. The problem we have is with your frame, your body. Atypical alterations, biosynthetic recording, unusual growth. Jean-Mi shakes his head. From the diagrammatics I have, these are not typical of frames, even those that have been rebooted as you have. In order to investigate safely, I must transplant your emulation. In basic terms, your mind, but in reality, not so basic. He smiles in an attempt at reassurance. Your emulation is an emulation of a human, and a human mind cannot be separated from its sensorium. The mind-body paradigm has been long disproved. The cognition has physical basis. So, I must first distribute the emulation between your hardware and the prime Shipmind. The hardware will co-run the emulation like the two lobes of a brain. He puts his hands together as if in prayer, and then slowly separates them. The motion makes you feel sick. Then, for a short period, I will disconnect the two. In those moments, you will, in a sense, be in two places at once, though each lobe will be partial. Too long in this state, and the two partial emulations would decay, but each disconnect will allow me a short period of full access to your entire frame and its base system language. I hope this is understandable. Jean-Mi gives you a serious look. One of the most curiously human aspects of sleeper experience is that you too do not inherently understand or conceive of the systems that allow your existence. Okay, I can already tell this is very risky. Have you done this before? You are the first sleeper I have encountered, so I must answer no. Jean-Mi smiles apologetically. But I can promise you, I have tried these concepts in my own practices. I am familiar with the needs and nuances of artificial minds. Now, before I connect to your frame, let us activate the Shipmind. Jean-Mi gestures to Junie. Please, if you would like to come with me and oversee the process, I would be pleased. Junie shoots you a reassuring glance and then glides over to the Shipmind, obscuring your view of it. You hear quiet conversation between the two of them, their silhouettes lit by the flickering screen light of scrolling lines of code. You take a calming breath, but are instantly aware of how superfluous that action is when your frame requires no oxygen at all to function. There's a certain sensation that accompanies such thoughts, a jarring disconnection, like when descending a staircase, your foot expects a step and finds void instead. You try to calm the growing anxiety as Junie and Jean-Mi assess the mind. The Shipmind is pristine. Junie turns back and drifts towards you. Our care in its extraction seems to have paid off. This is good news. Junie is indeed right. You have done well. I am, however, seeing only minor traces of the protocol that the Shipmind was designed to house, the one that ran the ship it was installed in. I would expect to see it in full. He angles his head and lifts his shoulders in a slow shrug. But protocols are not easy to track. In the end, it only saves us the step of extracting it from the mind. Instead, I simply wiped the traces. Jean-Mi stops beside you. A protocol is not like an emulation, like your emulation. It has no integral physical element. It is data only, and therefore could be anywhere in that ship. In the end, its absence does not concern me. It concerns me. I understand, Sleeper, but it is remarkable we have this Shipmind at all. This is our opportunity. Jean-Mi lifts the far end of the thick cable you saw earlier. You know this is the end that will connect to the port in the back of your head. Junie settles beside you again. She gives you a silent look. It's time. You turn to one side to allow access to the port, your eyes fixed on the far wall. You see something among the piled tech there that you hadn't noticed before. A small, metal, skull-like head like that of a doll. You frown, trying to focus on the head, and then the cable connects. You are split like a cell dividing, wrenched in two directions at once. The world goes dark and the cloud rushes in to fill the gap at your center. Where am I? You ask a question in your mind, and you feel it travel across the gap as it forms, like a finger drawn across your scalp from ear to ear. But not scalp. You have no scalp, no head. You are stretched out like the skin of a drum, looped like the string of a noose. The smallest vibration echoes across yourself like a ripple across a puddle. And then you feel it, a strong pulse, like a heartbeat, like thunder, like footsteps. A flickering. Oh. A trembling. A thought coming into being. The thought flickers in front of you and you recognize that it is not your own. Assist. Offer help. Oh, assist? A burial. Assist, offer help, or assist a sickness. I will say offer help. Disinter, disintegrate, the thought answers. You fold up in blankness, then a moment after you unfold like waking. Partition, to divide. Dwelling, indwell, the thought answers. You stretch into infinitude, then a moment after you contract like waking. Instill, to flow inside. Substitute, substrate, the thought answers. Then it approaches, then it enters, then it is yours. You split, then the moment after you reform like waking, and in the cracks that seal up. For a moment in those cracks, something glows. Sleeper, I'm here. Your eyes flick open like shutters. Junie's face is close, her eyes wide. They're awake, she calls over your head. She looks back at you. Easy now. Take it slow. You twist, floating, turning your head as if you were underwater, feeling the resistance of a body you had already forgotten. How long has it been? You feel a weight you haven't felt in... You're okay, Sleeper. Tell us you are there. Junie leans in close. I'm okay. Junie smiles. They're okay, she calls to Jean-Mi. I am glad to hear that. You hear Jean-Mi's voice and he comes into focus. The process was successful. Jean-Mi floats beside the chair, his hands clasped in a businesslike fashion. I was able to access the frame directly without your emulation being present. I ran the administrator-level diagnostic processes built into its system and received the results. He takes a moment to gather himself. Your frame is indeed changing. The protein chains that code your biosynthetic organ group cell replacement have been altered. To put it simply, your body is following a new set of instructions. Didn't the reboot do that? No. The reboot and recoding you underwent simply stopped those protein chains from artificially decaying, breaking your dependence on stabilizer. This process? The entire replacement of your protein chains could only have been achieved over multiple doses of a specialized substance, as part of a carefully planned process of total substitution. That word sticks in your mind, substitution. You say it without thinking. Yes, Jean-Mi reacts as if you were speaking to him. I believe it could only have been achieved with one substance as the carrier. Stabilizer. Stabilizer. The drug SNARP designed to make you dependent on them. The drug Lane fed you to keep you alive. The drug you thought you had escaped. My stabilizer was laced with something. That is what I believe. This kind of process... Jean-Mi hesitates now, and you realize the bad news is yet to come. Performed over many, many doses, carefully planned and designed, I cannot think of a way it can be reversed. Jean-Mi looks down. I can say that you are changing. I can tell you how it was achieved, but I can neither stop it nor tell you its ultimate end. I am sorry. I understand. I'm sorry, Sleeper. Junie struggles to find words. Perhaps we can find someone else, or... try again? You don't feel able to respond. You quietly push yourself away from the chair, your thoughts slow to cohere. You glide back to the door and then out, into the flow of flotsam, the noise and activity passing by you like smoke. In the haze, you find that word again. Substitute. You begin to wonder what exactly it is that you are becoming. Seraphin once more finds you in your bunk. He gently prods you with questions, and you quickly relent. You explain what Jean-Mi said about your suspicions regarding Lane and your confusion as to his motivation. You tell him you don't know what this will mean for you in the future. He listens, and when he is done listening, you both sit and wait for the moment to pass. And then you leave the rig, each on your own errands, each knowing that the only option is to keep going until you are forced to stop. So that's all we have. Well, the only other things... We go to the scatter yard eventually, and then we go to the Greenbelt, and we go to Wellspring. So, to look at this... Holmes Rock we can go to, and then the Wellspring. That seems like the best way to process, because I don't think we... Well, we could go to the Greenbelt, but even if we did, we wouldn't be able to get to the scatter yards or the Hollow. And the Greenbelt requires a lot of jumps, and we'd need to go through Hellion Gate. Maybe at Holmes Rock we'll be able to find a way to upgrade and carry more fuel. I don't know. Either way, I gotta end this episode here. Sorry it went a little long. Next episode, we'll gather more supplies and then make our way towards... What was it? Holmes something? Holmes Rock. We'll go there next time. Till then, I am Chestic44, I'll say in his Fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2, and I shall see you all next time.